What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones Season 7 prediction video. Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to my friend Piz for pointing something out to me in the opening credits of Season 7. After I saw this, I started to do some research to see if there's a chance that the Night King and his army will actually go around the wall instead of knocking it down. Once I looked into this a little bit further, I think there is a very good chance this is going to happen. So let's take a look at the evidence, and when the video ends, let me know what you think. Now let's get started. First, let's start with the Hound's vision. In episode 1, Thoros of Myr had the Hound come over to the fire and look into the flames. And when he did this, he saw some things that were pretty alarming, and it actually laid the groundwork for what will happen in the upcoming episodes. The Hound said he saw ice, a wall of ice. It's where the wall meets the sea, and there is a castle there, and a mountain that looks like an arrowhead, and the dead are marching past, thousands of them. Now think about what he actually said. He said he can see the wall right where it meets the sea, and there is a castle there. He is actually looking at Eastwatch by the sea, and he can see the dead marching past it. Not over it, not through it, but he sees them marching past it as if they are going around it. But this isn't the only interesting thing about this scene. There was actually a line of dialogue that they had removed from this episode, and I think they had it taken out because it would have been too obvious as to what was going to happen next. The removed line of dialogue was during the Hound's vision. The Hound was also supposed to say, "The waves are frozen," which means the sea has completely frozen over, and that's why the dead are able to march right past the castle where the wall of ice meets the sea. Now let's take a look at the opening credits from episode 1 and episode 2. When it shows the wall in the credits, look at the sea to the right side of the wall, right where Eastwatch by the sea is. It has completely frozen over. This is going to allow the Night King and his army to go right around the wall instead of knocking it down. Now look at the opening credits from Season 6, Episode 9. This was just a few episodes ago, and the sea is still completely blue, but now it's frozen over now that winter is here. And when the Night King brings the storm, it's going to be even colder. But there are a few other things I want to point out though. Remember in Episode 1, right after the credits end, we go right into a vision that Bran Stark is having, as he is seeing the dead marching with the storm, as he is seeing the army of the dead with the 3 giants. We'll take a look at the ground right here. Right before we see the army of the dead marching with the storm, to me that looks like they are walking over frozen water. The ground in the forefront right here looks very blue, and it's not flat ground either. It looks to be like choppy water has frozen over. I think Bran was looking into the future right here, and he was watching the army of the dead march as they were about to go out onto the frozen sea. When I first saw this, I thought it was just some field they were marching on, but after I looked at it for a while, I think it could be the water frozen right in place. But I have a few other clues from the books that actually point toward the dead coming into the water and out of the water. There is a character in the books called Patchface, and he is a really creepy character that is always saying these really weird things that seem to be very prophetic. In A Dance with Dragons, Patchface is at the wall, as Jon Snow and some other characters are talking about taking an expedition to Hardhome to save the wildlings. There is another character there called Malgorn, and he asks Jon Snow who's going to lead this ranging to Hardhome, and this is when Patchface says, "I will lead it. We will march into the sea and out again. Under the waves we will ride seahorses, and mermaids will blow seashells to announce our coming." What he says here is very interesting. Patchface is another character in the books that has died and come back to life. He is technically another form of a white, a reanimated character. So think about what he says to Jon Snow while they are at the wall. He says, "We will march into the sea and out again." I think he means the dead will march into the sea and out again. He says, "Under the waves we will ride seahorses." This could just mean horses will be on the sea, dead horses from the Night King's army. Then he says, "Mermaids will blow seashells to announce our coming." That could mean men of the Night's Watch will blow the horn 3 times, which means the White Walkers are coming. Melisandre tells Jon Snow that she has seen Patchface in her visions in the flames, and she considers him to be a very dangerous man. Melisandre may have even seen him in the sea with the army of the dead. But there is something else that happens right around this same time that leads me to believe the army of the dead will go into the sea. The Lord Commander of Eastwatch by the sea is named Cotter Pike, and he is one of the people that goes to Hardhome to save the wildlings. In the books, Jon Snow doesn't actually go to Hardhome, but Cotter Pike does go. Jon sends Cotter Pike to Hardhome because he doesn't want the wildlings that are there to get turned into whites, just like in the TV show. But when Cotter Pike arrives at Hardhome, he sends a report back to Jon Snow, and he says there are dead things in the woods and dead things in the water. Cotter Pike wasn't heard from ever again after this, and I think he saw the others in the water. When I start to think about all the evidence, it really does start to point toward the army of the dead coming around the wall on the frozen sea, and that's how they will get south of the wall. There is one more thing I want to show you before I go. If you know anything about George R.R. Martin, then you should know George likes to take things from real-world history and implement them into his story. Just like the war between the Starks and the Lannisters was loosely based off the War of the Roses. Well, something happened during World War II that might have been considered when it comes to how the army of the dead is going to get south. France spent 11 years and $450 million fortifying 450 miles of countryside against the German militarization. They built this 450-mile-long wall to keep the Nazis out. But when the Nazis invaded in May of 1940, they simply went around the wall. And in this case, the others may be the Nazis and they will do the same. Instead of coming through the wall or over the wall, why not take the easiest route and just go around the damn thing without even breaking a sweat? But comment down below and let me know what you think. Is there something here, or am I just crazy? Thanks for stopping by and checking out this video. I really appreciate that. And I will see you all in my Season 7 Episode 2 breakdown video. Bye.